thought when a man knows, he knows. Like, it just...
Oh, yeah, but you still got to take steps, especially when you 43 years old and when you've been married before and that seem fresh and you got children. Got to make sure that you don't just make any rash. My divorce. I'm still trying to shake off still, though. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm reminded in terms of having 4 children by her every day.
You still stuck?
No, I'm not stuck. I'm not even thinking about my...
You think about it every day. That's stuck, bruh.
It's more of...
I keep suggesting you going to therapy and like working with various people so you can get through that.
Oh, there's counseling.
Because that's why you still stuck, bruh.
No, I feel that I'm lucky to even have her on my side.
Martell Holt and Arionne Curry have always been names tied to drama, whispers, and endless social media debates. But now, the spotlight on them isn't about fame, glamour, or business deals. Instead, it's about something much deeper, much rawer, and far more personal. It's about struggle. It's about the kind of lifestyle nobody ever expected them to have after years of headlines and attention. No money. No car. And a relationship that looks more fragile than ever. When the news first broke that the couple was being dragged online for their financial struggles, many people couldn't believe it. How could 2 people who have been front and center in reality TV and entertainment conversations suddenly be exposed for living like this? But as the details came out, the story became more than gossip. It became a real-life lesson about choices, consequences, and how quickly the spotlight can fade when the support system isn't as strong as it looks. Because at the heart of it all, Martell Holt and Arionne Curry are not just reality TV figures. They're people. And their story today is one that's filled with pride, pain, denial, and a desperate fight to control a narrative that keeps slipping out of their hands. But here's the twist: what people are seeing now isn't just about money. It's about power, control, and the deep cracks in a relationship that has been tested time and time again. And this time, those cracks might be too wide to ignore. Martell Holt wasn't always a name tied to ridicule and public mess. For years, he was known as the husband of Melody Sherry Holt, his ex-wife, and one of the shining stars of Love and Marriage, Huntsville. Together, they built what looked like the perfect life, a beautiful family, successful businesses, and a reality TV platform that introduced them to the world. Fans admired them, envied them, and even looked up to them as proof that black love, when nurtured, could grow into something powerful. But behind the cameras, there were secrets. Martell's affair with Arionne Curry wasn't just a fling, it became one of the most explosive scandals to ever shake reality TV. Arionne, known to the public as the other woman, was dragged into the spotlight unwillingly at first, then more willingly as her connection to Martell deepened. Their relationship was the elephant in the room during Melody and Martell's marriage, and eventually, it tore their family apart. Melody walked away. She rebuilt her life. She found her strength. And Martell? He leaned even harder into his connection with Arionne. But here's where the story takes a turn that nobody saw coming. For all the drama, all the fighting, and all the attention, Martell and Arionne never built the fairy tale life people assumed they were chasing. Instead, what has surfaced is a picture of struggle. A life where the glitz of reality TV no longer shields the truth, bills, responsibilities, and the harsh reality of not having enough. And for Arionne, that truth hit hard when fans discovered she doesn't even have a car of her own. In today's world, that kind of detail speaks volumes. People immediately began asking questions. How could a woman tied to Martell Holt, who bragged about wealth and status, be living without something as basic as transportation? And more importantly, why is Martell still trying to convince the world he's the prize when the evidence around him tells a very different story? The most recent live sessions between Martell and Arionne exposed cracks in their relationship that can't be ignored. At first glance, it looked like a couple spending time together, sharing their day with fans. But when Arionne opened up about being in nursing school, the tone shifted. She wanted to celebrate her progress, her education, her hope for the future. She spoke like a woman trying to climb out of the shadow of being known only as the mistress and build something real for herself and her children. But Martell? Instead of uplifting her, he twisted the conversation. He admitted she hadn't worked in years and defended her against online comments calling her jobless and carless. He said she doesn't need to work unless she's making $50 or $60 an hour. To him, anything less wasn't worth her time. But what fans heard wasn't love, it was control. It sounded like a man who wanted to dictate her choices, her future, and even her independence. And then came the comment that left everyone stunned: Martell claiming nurses are known for cheating. It was a low blow, a statement that felt both cruel and hypocritical, considering his own history of infidelity. The live chat exploded, with fans calling him out for being the last person on earth who should speak about cheating. But Martell stood firm, defensive, and unwilling to admit the irony of his words. Arionne, caught in the middle, laughed it off. But behind her laughter, people could sense the truth: a woman trying to keep the peace in front of viewers while quietly swallowing her frustration. Because in that moment, it wasn't just about money or a car, it was about respect. And respect is something Arionne doesn't always seem to get in this relationship. As the live went on, Martell made it clear that he wanted the audience to see him as the prize. He pressed Arionne to call him the best, to list reasons why he was a good man. She answered vaguely, saying he was good to her and gave her what she needed. But her tone was telling. She wasn't celebrating him, she was calming him. Keeping him from lashing out. Protecting the fragile balance of their relationship in front of strangers. For viewers, it was uncomfortable. On one side, you had Arionne, a woman trying to better herself, juggling kids, and working toward a nursing career. On the other, you had Martell, a man clinging to an image of success while fans pointed out the glaring truth: their lifestyle doesn't match the words he keeps speaking. And that truth is what keeps fueling the criticism. No car. No steady income. A home life that looks less like stability and more like survival. People expected drama from Martell and Arionne. But what they didn't expect was to see them exposed for struggling at such a basic level. The emotional weight of this isn't just about money. It's about pride. Martell has always carried himself as someone untouchable, someone bigger than his mistakes. But now, the cracks are showing in ways he can't control. His defense of Arionne not having a car only made people question him more. His insistence that she doesn't need to work sounded less like love and more like manipulation. And his constant need to be called the best revealed a man desperate to protect his ego, even when the reality around him tells a different story. One thing is clear: the internet won't stop talking. Every live, every comment, every slip of the tongue adds fuel to the fire. And as long as Martell and Arionne keep putting their lives on display, the world will keep watching and judging. Because at the end of the day, what started as a scandal has now turned into something far more raw. This isn't just about cheating. This isn't just about drama. This is about survival, pride, and the painful truth that love alone isn't enough to build a stable life. So what happens next? Will Arionne finally pass her exams, get her license, and step into the independence she's been chasing? Will Martell ever let go of his pride long enough to face reality and support her the way she deserves? Or will the cycle of struggle, control, and denial keep repeating until there's nothing left to salvage? The story of Martell Holt and Arionne Curry is far from over. But one thing is certain: no matter how hard they try to hide it, their struggles have already been laid bare. And sometimes, the truth hurts more than the gossip ever could. Because behind the cameras, behind the live streams, and behind the drama, there are two people who wanted love, who chased it, who fought for it, and now find themselves fighting just to keep their heads above water. And maybe that's the real tragedy. Not the cheating. Not the headlines. But the simple, heartbreaking fact that after everything, they're left with no money, no car, and a love story that feels more like a burden than a blessing. At the end of the day, the story of Martell Holt and Arionne Curry isn't just about gossip or headlines. It's about two people who thought they could build a future out of secrets, passion, and broken promises. But now the truth is showing itself in ways they can't escape. No money. No car. And no real foundation to stand on. Martell still wants the world to see him as the prize, the man who has it all together. But the reality tells a different story. A man who lost his marriage, his reputation, and now finds himself trying to protect an image that is falling apart. A man who tells Arionne she doesn't need to work, while people online point out that she has nothing to call her own. His pride is louder than his reality, and that's why people are calling him out. For Arionne, the journey feels even heavier. She's trying to rise above the title of the other woman. She's in school, she's chasing a career, she's trying to find her own independence. But at the same time, she's stuck in a cycle where Martell's voice drowns out her own. And the world can see it.